Well, good afternoon from Hillsborough. This afternoon's Division 1 match, Sheffield Wednesday versus Newcastle United. Quickly onto the teams. Sheffield Wednesday. In goal, captain Martin Hodge. Number 2, Mel Sterling. 3, Steve McCall. 4, Laurie Madden. 5, Larry May. 6, Nigel Worthington. Number 7 is a new one to the team, Des Hazel. Number 8, Gary Megson. 9, Lee Chapman. 10, David Hurst. 11, Carl Bradshaw. And the 2 substitutes, Wayne Jacobs and Gary Owen. And now we swing across to Newcastle United. And in goal for Newcastle United, Gary Kelly. Number 2, Neil MacDonald. 3, John Bailey. 4, David McCreary. 5, Peter Jackson. 6, Kevin Scott. 7, Darren Jackson. 8, Paul Gascoigne. Number 9, Paul Goddard. 10 is Kenny Wharton. 11, Clint Hodges. And the substitutes, Andy Thomas and Brian Tinnion. Oh, and a lucky rebound here. Now this has put Darren Jackson through. Now can he pull it across? Oh, what a good goal that was. Well, I was just going to say, he got 2 men up if he wanted to centre, which he should have done. But no, he didn't need them. He lobbed it completely into the top corner. Well, that was a lucky ricochet from Laurie Madden that gave Darren Jackson the chance.
Mirandihna's first goal gave Newcastle the lead in the 7th minute. His 22-yard free kick took a deflection off the defensive wall to wrong foot the Manchester keeper. The Brazilian's been under pressure to score. He was clearly delighted. 20 minutes later, Mirandihna found himself at the end of a corner to grab his second. And the final score, Manchester United 2, Newcastle United 2.
Of course, but the United board is a pretty immovable object. Much more precarious is Willie McFall's existence. The tumbrils were waiting to cart him away should his side lose again. Their fragile confidence was so nearly shattered after 5 minutes that Gary Kelly somehow managed to block Wallace's header. As they rid themselves of the early tension, United started to play some controlled football. This 5-man move set up a chance for impressive debutant John Cornwall. Midway through the half, Cornwall was again thwarted by Saints keeper Flowers. He met McDonald's cross perfectly, only to see his effort tipped over the bar. Newcastle needed a break, but when you're down, your luck's out, as Paul Gascoigne discovered just before the interval. At least though United were creating chances, McFall had to hope that 1 or 2 would be put away in the second half. But the United boss had to endure more agony after the restart, when Paul Goddard's smart turn and shot looked in until the dreaded woodwork again intervened. And at the other end, Kelly had to be at his acrobatic best to keep out this rasping drive from Saints fullback Derek Statham. On the hour, though, joy unconfined, as Gascoigne's cheeky chip found Mirandihna free, and the boy from Brazil opened his St James's Park account. It was a magic moment he just had to share with a man who suffered so much this past week. But the celebrations were to be short-lived. Kelly was rooted to the spot as Clark's free kick curled in. 1-1 and the pressure was on again. With quarter of an hour left, more joy as Mirandihna's free kick at the other end landed perfectly for Goddard. At last, Lady Luck seemed to be smiling on the Magpies. She continued to smile a few minutes later as Kelly misjudged this cross from Townsend with near catastrophic results. The precociously talented Gascoigne had a chance to put the issue beyond doubt just before the final whistle, but the miss didn't matter. The beleaguered McFall had gained some respite thanks partly to his record dining, and after the game, Mirandihna, through interpreter Humberto Silva, revealed just why his goal was so important to him.
Estava sabendo, estava acompanhando tudo.
Before the game, he said that he would do everything possible to score a goal for Willie McFall, and he did it, and that's why he's happy. He was aware of the fact that Willie was under pressure, and so he did everything he could to try to help Willie and the team, because Willie is a very good trainer, very good manager. So.
It's a bit short, that one. Clark's made it. Good work from Nevin. Clark, oh, lovely skills from Clark. He's got Jury in front. Jury's got the ball now. Dixon's there. Knocks it back. Wilson! Oh! Well, Pat Nevin, it hit him in the face. McDonald. Beautiful challenge there, and the ball breaks for Jury. Jury using his pace, gets past Jackson, there's a shot. Oh, it's a goal off, it's gone in off McCreary, surely. Dixon was charging in. Well, Gordon Jury certainly deserves the credit for that goal. 12 minutes gone, it's Chelsea 1, Newcastle United 0. McDonald with the throw. Anderson. First time ball from Anderson. Goddard inside to McDonald. Dangerous move this. Oh, a fine shot there from Mirandihna. Well, that's really the first we've seen of the little Brazilian. He's got a bad ball through. Goddard's there. Goddard gets the shot in. Oh, it's a great save by Need Whiskey. Oh, that was a fine save because he's had nothing to do so far. And then he was called upon to make that block. Goddard doesn't usually miss from there. Nevin. Hazard. The keeper's miss. Here's a goal from Dixon! Kerry Dixon scores his 6th goal of the season. Gascoigne. The keeper's come out, Mirandihna's there. Eddie Needs Whiskey's right out of goal. Mirandihna holds it on, Goddard's there, he scores! Oh, what a silly goal from Chelsea's point of view. Gascoigne. A beautiful ball from him in the path of Mirandihna. Mirandihna's going through. Clark's there. Clark's brought him down. It's a penalty. The referee's pointing to the spot. Eddie Need Whiskey looks so frustrated. I don't think there can be much doubt about it, actually. The little man's pleased with that anyway. Have a look at it again. There's the ball from Gascoigne. McLaughlin can't get there. Clark does, but he doesn't play the ball. He lunges forward, brings the man down. And it's Neil MacDonald against Eddie Need Whiskey. Oh, fine save by Need Whiskey, and blasted over by Goddard. Well, that should inspire the Blues again. Brilliant piece of goalkeeping. And that's what the Shed think of it. Have a look at it again. MacDonald goes for the bottom right-hand corner as we look. Need Whiskey sprung to his left. And it's a fine save. Hazard. Nevin. He's winning that tackle well. Now he's got to beat Cornwall. He does. There's the cross. Jury's there, he must score! Jury's made the space. Oh, headed off the line by Anderson. Tignon's gone down with an injury following that challenge on Pat Nevin. Limping a bit, but Nevin sends in the cross. Headed away by Rhoda. McLaughlin. Oh, and a shot from Darren Wood, and a brilliant save by young Gary Kelly. As Chelsea organise their wall. 5-man wall. Will Mirandihna have a pot? Oh, a little chip through. It's a save. Oh, it's a goal! Kenny Walton scored! That's his first touch. And really, one's got to say that that is very much against the run of play. But Newcastle now sent victory as they come forward. Mirandihna. Oh, he tried to work the space. He's got shot. Oh! Just past the post.
Manager William Form
was understandably anxious before the match. Heaven knows to stay his nerves after an amazing first 3 minutes. With less than 90 seconds gone, Blackpool's Steve Morgan wandered forward and tried a somewhat optimistic shot, but the bounce was enough to deceive Martin Thomas. United 2 down now on aggregate. But before Gallagher's cynics could chant "Here we go" again, Newcastle had responded. Gascoigne flicked the ball into the danger zone, Peter Jackson hooked it across goal, and Paul Goddard forced the ball home to level the scores on the night. But United still needed 2 more to take the lead overall. Enter Tyneside's favourite overseas visitor, because Newcastle's second was a Mirandihna super show. His pace saw him race onto Cornwall's punt upfield. Then his skill brought the ball under instant control and took him clean round Andy McAteer. Sheer power sent the ball rocketing past Barry Siddall. 2-2 on aggregate with just 11 minutes gone. But the fans had to sweat it out till on the hour before Darren Jackson put United ahead. He began the move himself, working the ball wide to Paul Goddard. But before cries of handball went up when the cross came over, Jackson had swept the ball past Siddall. 3-1 now, and just reward for a spirited Newcastle recovery. But Paul Gascoigne, villain of the first leg, should have killed off Blackpool. When he sprinted clear, he seemed to do everything right, only to see the ball rebound off the inside of the post. Siddall saved himself from the follow-up. Next, it was Neil MacDonald's turn to set Gascoigne away. A perfect sidestep, but he couldn't produce the shot to beat Siddall. Third time lucky, perhaps, as Jackson laid on the chance, but once more Gascoigne failed to finish off excellent approach work. But with 10 minutes left, he finally got his goal. Brian Tinnion measured his pass, and Gascoigne showed unshakable confidence to wipe out his back pass nightmare, then treated us to the Gaza shuffle. Still time for Martin Thomas to be led off with a dislocated shoulder, just to keep McFall from relaxing. Tinnion took over, but United were home and dry. Maybe now the pressure might ease on Willie McFall.
I think you're going to talk about pressure all season because I'm a first division manager.
Available, knocking it back now for Watson. Fallen down for Snowden, and Snowden scores. Jackson, Mirandihna. Donald's made a good run here. A bit of room to work. Mirandihna, superb goal
of the season.
Brazilian.
The large Newcastle contingent had to suffer early on as Nick Pickering went close to scoring for Coventry. David Speedy was in inspired form, and Peter Jackson had to be alert to prevent him from heading Coventry into the lead. But it was Newcastle who took the lead with a stunning goal from Paul Goddard after good work by Mirandihna and Gascoigne. Sadly, the euphoria was short-lived as Cyril Regis scored the goal of the match after the Newcastle defence failed to clear. Back came United, and Agrizovic in the Coventry goal worked wonders to keep out this Darren Jackson shot. Mirandihna's pace was causing Coventry all sorts of problems, and it created United's second goal, scored by Gascoigne. It was Gascoigne who began to run the show from midfield in the second half, and he started off a wonderful four-man move, which ended in this goal from Darren Jackson. (3-1), and it was nearly 4 as Agrizovic only just managed to palm away this effort from Mirandihna. So Newcastle's impressive away form continues. The 3 points take them into a mid-table position, and they've now gone 4 league games without defeat. But it wasn't complete joy for United manager Willie McFall. United's star striker Mirandihna had to leave the field with a pulled hamstring. Well, today the Brazilian spent the morning on the treatment table, and though the injury means he's certain to miss some games, it's not as bad as it might have been.
Is your leg sore? One thing to his advantage is that he's normally mobile, fairly supple, so hopefully he should heal a little bit quicker than normal.
But out for a couple of weeks nevertheless?
Possibly, yeah.
And is it going to require intensive treatment from you then?
Yes, he'll have treatment every day, Saturdays and Sundays as well.
How do you feel?
My leg no very good. now no very good.
On Tyneside, football is a way of life. The Geordie fan loves nothing better than a likely lad, a hero with whom he can associate. Right now, such a player exists. Mind you, at first glance, he's an unlikely looking star. But put him on a football field, and a rare talent is there for all to see. Paul Gascoigne is the name. Just 20 years of age, he's already won over the St James's Park fans in the same way as his famous predecessors.
And he comes again to Keegan. And a fine cross to Wobble. Oh, yes! And Keegan. And Beardsley again. And Beardsley still. Oh, magnificent! What a great goal by Peter Beardsley!
Before Beardsley and Waddle, there was a legend, the great Jackie Milburn. Now a football journalist, Jackie has watched Paul's progress with great excitement and believes all the praise is justified.
Oh, and he deserves it. I think it's about 35 years since I've seen a kid as good as what this lad is. And I just can't believe the skills of him. He's got everything. He's got a couple of faults, man. But 2.5 years ago, I wrote, after I saw him in the youth team, that this fellow was the next England captain who would take over from Bob Robson. And I still believe it. And since then, he just went on and on and on. And his skills is absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. Sticks out a mile. And he'll tell you so as well, you know.
Because he's a confident lad.
Oh, confident. He's like Malcolm MacDonald. I think whether it's confidence or they've got to say things to give themselves confidence, I don't know. But last year we were struggling in the first division and could have been relegated, and Gaza was missing for a few weeks. And after one game he says, "Oh, all right, Jack," he says, "I'm back next week, we're safe." And mind we were, because we did very well the last 8 or 9 games. But it was him that kept us in the first division.
Not since the great Jackie Milburn have we had a lad who was from the northeast, who's gone on and played for England and spent their whole career at Newcastle. And, you know, we had Chris Waddle and Peter Beardsley who played for England at Newcastle and then gone on to do other things with other great clubs. But if Paul stays at Newcastle and starts his England career and finishes his England career at Newcastle, then he will be the next footballing legend. And Jackie Milburn was the last one, and that lad will carry it. And I mean, he's a real hero because he's one of them. They love him and he loves them. And I heard him do an interview on the radio the other day, and he said, you know, people ask me about when we win and when we lose. He says, I feel worse than the fans when we lose.
Willie, how good is Paul Gascoigne?
He's got a lot going for him. I never thought I'd ever say this about a young player of 20-year-old, but he has got a lot going for him. He's got a lot of ability. He has got things in the game, in his game, that are missing in the game in general. He's got flair that we don't see very often nowadays, and I think that's important that we get that back into the game. If he's got a fault, it's maybe he's a little bit over-enthusiastic at times, but that's up to us to try and put right.
In the meantime, the Gascoigne skills are beginning to illuminate the First Division. Paul's also a character. He plays up to the fans. But he's also becoming a marked man. Witness Vinnie Jones' own idea of close marking.
Just me and my shadow, all alone and oh so blue. And when it's 12 o'clock, we climb the stairs. We never knock, for nobody's there. Just me and my shadow, all alone and oh so
With that sort of attention, it's not surprising the lad the fans call Gazza likes to get completely away from it all at Tumbleton Lake, Craigside. But has he always been football mad?
Definitely, you know, I think I go back when I was a young'un, when I was 7 in the park, you know. I used to play football all the time, and I think it's something I've always lived for.
And a Newcastle fan as well?
I never used to watch football much. I think I was too busy playing. But I watched Newcastle a couple of times on the television. You know, I think I still remember when they were putting goals past you. But
Any heroes or idols along the road?
Obviously, everyone used to talk about McDonald when he was at Newcastle. Some great goals he used to score and that.
Barraclough's cross. McDonald! Well, how did he get in that gap?
How did you actually start fishing?
Like you see, I was, you know, in Dunstan. I was driving the car, and someone was with a fishing rod, a young kid, and asked him if I could come along and I'd give him a lift and watch him. And I went along with him, and I enjoyed it from then on. I just took up fishing. You know, I've always fancied it, but I've never actually bought a rod. So I eventually got in touch with Stan Nixon, who I knew done a bit of fishing, who teaches the lads at School of Excellence, and he was delighted to take along and teaches a few things. And I have caught a few fish. I've took a bit of stick off Captain Glenn Rudder, but I think he wasn't too happy when I took a 5.5 pound trout in, so that keeps me happy anyway.
With freedom of contract now, Paul, I mean, there is a time when a player like yourself, there will be lots of temptations. What would keep you up here in the northeast?
Bigger fish. You know, more fishing ponds, and I think that could keep us a bit. But mostly of all is success. I want to play for success. Everyone likes success, and I can't see any reason why we can't have it at Newcastle, because I'm certainly the fans appreciate it. You know, they're next to nothing in the world. They're brilliant. They turn up whatever the weather. Just showed, you know, the other night when we played Monaco. You know, there was what 10,000 there, and it was freezing cold. You know, I think most of all it's just the fans. If anything happened, they would keep us here because they're brilliant.
A lot of people must have helped you along the way, and I guess Mum and Dad are top of the list.
Definitely, you know, especially Mum. You know, we'll start with Mum first. I remember when she used to really work hard, you know, to get me a pair of boots. And I mentioned a bit about getting some little wood specials the other day, but my mum gives her like some sticky because I remember she buys a new pair of boots. So if you're listening, Mum, I'm sorry about that. And my dad, he was the one who bought us a ball for when I was young, you know. He was the one who gave us a ball when I was young, and says, you know, so what can do with that, son? And hopefully I haven't let either of them down. You know, I appreciate what they do for us, and from now on and the rest of my career, everything I play for is for them and my family.
Paul Gascoigne was named Barclays Young Eagle of the Month.
We have a very urgent message for the father of Daniel Grubb of Howard Drive, Brockley. The father of young Daniel is required immediately
So Callahan,
at the St John's ambulance hut, which is at the Leazard end of the ground. That's very urgent appeal for Daniel Grubb's father.
Andy Garner, the player, down, and Peter Jackson making his presence felt in the opening 30 seconds of the game. John Anderson. Gascoigne quickly into the action and wide of the left-hand upright, but Anderson. Cornwall's header. Goddard trying to get in. Callahan away. sun right in the eyes of those supporters on that side of the ground. Goddard squares that for Gascoigne. Gascoigne, a lovely 1-2, and Gascoigne the shots. And not a long way wide. Shilton really stretching, indicating that he wasn't certain that was going to go wide. Gascoigne making space for himself with the help of Cornwall, and a lovely touch back to Gascoigne. He's had a couple of efforts. Could this be his third? Cornwall, and Shilton saw that late and made a fine save. Well, John Cornwall hasn't scored for Newcastle, but that was very nearly his first. A good effort and a fine save by Peter Shilton. Callahan shaping as if he was going to have a go. McLaren's a good cross and a fine catch from Gary Kelly. And good distribution too. McDonald. And a lovely weighted pass. And now Goddard, and a fine save from Shilton. Well, that's much more like it from Newcastle. Shots from Cornwall and then Goddard. Anderson across, and a lovely touch from Goddard to McDonald. Goddard again. And now Darren Jackson. Well, and another save by Peter Shilton. Gascoigne. A beautiful ball for Tinian. And not far wide, and Cornwall wasn't far away either as he closed in. Garner. Cross. Oh, and Kelly doing well under pressure from Bobby Davison. Darren Jackson doing well. Not right after him, but Jackson's outstripped him. And Goddard denied. It's a good ball. Anderson to Goddard. McDonald to his right. Goddard and Gascoigne. Goddard. And Shilton beats it out again. Callahan again. This time he doesn't get it past the wall, but Kelly will have to come quickly. He does. He's out of position. The overhead kick, and it's Peter Jackson heading off the line. Goddard slips right, and Shilton again the save, and just beating it away as Neil McDonald came in. But Goddard doing superbly well in getting away from Mark Wright. Nothing wrong with the shot. Shilton a fine save, couldn't hold it. Beat it away as Neil McDonald closed in. Gascoigne in the corner. Shilton the punch this time. Still got a little lucky to get away with that. Goddard finds Darren Jackson. Goddard really is having a splendid game for Newcastle. Goddard, two defenders round him. Tries to find John Cornwall. Cornwall recovers well. Tinian's cross. Lawson battling well, gets to the byline and gets a good cross in, and Shilton would claim that, but Newcastle appeared to have the opportunity of capitalising on Wharton's good work. Williams back into the area. Tilly and cool as you like back to Gary Kelly, and that's a great ball out by Kelly to Gascoigne. Gascoigne building up a head of steam. And it just couldn't carry him far enough. Goddard away and clear into the path of Darren Jackson, and Shilton denies him. Jackson, they will be disappointed, but what good unselfish play from Paul Goddard. And I think credit too to Kenny Wharton, who set it up initially. Now Jackson, chance to make amends to Goddard, and again Shilton saves. Well, what do they have to do to beat him? Gascoigne for Goddard. These two working really well together. It's just too close to Shilton. Cornwall denying Callahan. And the whistle goes to end it. Newcastle United 0, Derby County 0. Arthur Cox and Willie McFall share an embrace. But really, this match all about Peter Shilton. An absolutely stupendous goalkeeping display. 7 magnificent saves, denying Goddard, Peter Jackson, Paul Gascoigne, John Cornwall. A really magnificent performance by the England goalkeeper on his 800th appearance. And I think Arthur Cox going across to acknowledge that now. Newcastle disappointed to just get the 1 point.
It was manager McFall's 100th game in charge, and his centenary couldn't have got off to a worse start. Charlton were 1-up after 7 minutes. Colin Walsh made the goal. 7 minutes later, he was involved in this incident with John Anderson. It was a sickening injury and disgraceful scenes from the terraces. Objects thrown at Walsh. The Football League will almost certainly want a full explanation. Walsh, a big buy from Nottingham Forest, had broken his leg in 2 places. Newcastle's first move of quality came in the 28th minute. Mirandihna just beaten by Charlton's diving Bob Boulder. The Brazilian was involved in the move that brought the equaliser on the stroke of half-time. Pinpoint accuracy setting up the move, which earned John Cornwell his first goal for the club and saving Newcastle's blushes after a poor first half. 1-1 at half-time, and there was some newfound urgency about Newcastle at the start of the second. And in the 56th minute, it was Cornwell again involved in Newcastle's winner. Mirandihna racing on to his cross. Young Michael O'Neill, making his full senior debut for Newcastle, almost made it a game for him to remember. Good build-up by Newcastle saw him race clear in the penalty area, and he showed cool finishing. But the referee had already blown for an infringement. The final score, Newcastle 2, Charlton 1.
Portsmouth area. The whistle goes and mayhem results. Jackson wades in, appears to be hit several times before swinging the punch that would lead to his dismissal. Another look shows that referee Neil Midgley had no alternative but to give United's central defender his marching orders, though he was certainly struck by Portsmouth number 5 Ball, among others, before lashing out himself. The other player to incur Mr Midgley's wrath was Pompey midfielder Kevin Dillon in the number 4 shirt. Dillon didn't appear to be involved in the punch-up and will claim mistaken identity when he appeals against a 2-match ban. There'll be no appeal on Jackson's behalf, and the key defender will miss the big holiday games against Manchester United and Liverpool.
Nice touch by Davenport. Strachan. Moses. This time gets past Bruce, is felled by Moses. And maybe a last chance in this first half for Newcastle. Gascoigne. Cornwall again winning that. Roda, and Roda slams it home. Glenn Roda. Darren Jackson on his shoulders. John Cornwall who played a big part in that. All coming from Paul Gascoigne's free kick. And Glenn Roda, who hasn't scored this season, in fact his last goal was here against Manchester United towards the end of last season.
After good Christmas campaigns, neither side would have been flattered by the first half. Managerial pep talks during the interval, however, appeared to work wonders, and the second period saw Newcastle forward with purpose. Mirandihna laid the ball wide for MacDonald, substitute Cornwall flicked on, Jackson headed down and Paul Goddard smashed home the rebound, his first goal since October. In the 60th minute, Wednesday reminded the 25,000 crowd why they'd taken maximum points from their previous 3 games. Chamberlain, who'd replaced the ineffective Colin West, crossed to Newcastle old boy Megson, and his pass was slotted neatly home by the resurgent Marwood. One apiece, but the show wasn't over. 7 minutes later, Mirandihna again found MacDonald, and Goddard restored United's lead. It was the sort of airborne sortie you'd normally associate with Wednesday, and to prove that point, Lee Chapman launched himself skywards 3 minutes later to show what he does with crosses. United's Neil MacDonald was having an inspired game, and his pile driver heralded an uncomfortable final 10 minutes for Wednesday. Having held out against Everton the previous day, their defence was starting to look shaky as Newcastle knocked the ball about confidently. A goalmouth fast developed as Worthington sliced the ball onto his own post, and Goddard can't have had an easier chance of a hat-trick. It was all too much for a subdued Mirandihna, for whom 4 matches in 8 days was a new experience. But 2-2 just about pleased both managers. James's Park has slippery pitch and blustery wind, the classic ingredients for a cup upset. But for a team who've already scored 60 goals this season, second division promotion chasers Crystal Palace was strangely subdued. Although Alan Pardew had the ball in the net for them in the 4th minute, the Londoners' tactics of playing 5 at the back made for a turgid spectacle. When Newcastle did manage to muster the cup spirit with Darren Jackson's surging run, the front runners just couldn't rise to the occasion. MacDonald's crossing was as reliable as ever, but Goddard had lost his recent sharpness. How we missed Mirandihna. But strange things happen in cup ties, and with all hopes of a breakthrough fast evaporating, Paul Gascoigne produced a little bit of magic. With visions of further glory and a place in Geordie folklore, Gascoigne upped the tempo in the second half, and was denied a second goal only by a poor bounce. By the latter stages, MacDonald too had the message of the shoot-on-sight policy, but this time George Wood in the Palace goal was equal to it, the last action of a game redeemed only by one moment of brilliance.
Thinking about celebrating after I hit it, you know. I think I got to the box before it even went in.
Waiting new stand brought few compliments from the season ticket holders who'd spent 5 months in exile behind the goal. They felt it had a basic design fault. The roof didn't cover all the seats, and it's not much fun sitting in driving sleet. But some people loved it. Mirandihna's sons, the mascots for the day, had never seen this funny white stuff before. For the players, it was soon obvious that conditions were a major problem. Goddard tried to turn them to his advantage, but couldn't slide the ball in. But Newcastle can never be accused of being predictable. When other teams would have thumped it, they decided to play football. Unfortunately, Anderson couldn't find his on-rushing forwards with the cross. Mirandihna's amigo Ozzy Ardiles helped him out here, but keeper Tony Parks and company stood firm to block his route to goal. Neil MacDonald for once seemed happy in midfield. This thundering drive nearly brought the house down, not to mention Parks' crossbar. With half an hour gone, Newcastle got their reward for an excellent spell of pressure. Darren Jackson, the supplier, and Paul Gascoigne sweeps Newcastle into the lead. If Gazza was on the stock market, his share price would be booming. It was dividend time for the fans, though, as another mirror flick found Goddard, but he curled his shot just wide. Chris Waddle was hardly worth a jeer in all this, but he did manage one turn and shot just before half-time. In fact, it was the fans' new favourite Gascoigne who looked the England player. More superb control, but Parks kept him out. Not for long, though. 56 minutes gone, and Gascoigne finishes off the free kick. A deflection, maybe, but there's just no stopping him in this mood. But Newcastle should have had more. Peter Jackson was in on the act, but he was another one who found the crossbar. Spurs rallied too late. Waddle smacked in a shot, but the woodwork was in fine form. He tried again a minute from time, but Gary Kelly is proving a very established stand-in. And anyway, it was a day for the new hero, not the old, and Gascoigne's contract was more important than a seat in the rain.
I think it's 4 goals in 4 games.
Confidence to watching England manager Bobby Robson, but it was Mirandihna's delicate Latin skills which created United's best early chance, scorned by Neil MacDonald. The reluctant midfielder made amends, though, after half an hour of Newcastle pressure. His wicked first-time cross catches the Swindon defence flat-footed, Darren Jackson swoops, and his glorious half-volley puts United ahead. Swindon manager Lou Macari had insisted his team had no chance, but his players had other ideas and would have been level if top scorer Jimmy Quinn had reacted quicker to this chance. Instead, they paid dearly as Newcastle swept back upfield. MacDonald is again the instigator with another telling cross, and Jackson cleverly sets up Gascoigne for a goal to delight the England manager. Any lingering doubts among the Gallagher faithful that this really could be their year should have vanished 12 minutes into the second half. An intricate 5-man move puts Mirandihna clear, but he's denied a treasured first cup goal by Colin Calderwood's distinctly unsentimental challenge. From the inevitable penalty, MacDonald turns villain again by shooting wide. He was soon back in Willie McFall's good books, though, producing another measured cross, converted by a grateful Michael O'Neill. And now it's 3-0. Swindon's fading hopes of extending their run of cup upsets flickered briefly when fullback Phil King crowned a rare breakaway with a thumping volley against the bar. But it was United turning in a right royal performance. Paul Goddard is put away by Kenny Walton's astute pass, only to suffer the inevitable fate. The hapless Calderwood is again the culprit. MacDonald is conspicuous by his absence when the ball's put on the spot, so Gascoigne, who else, grabs the chance to unveil another side to his repertoire. 4-0, and by now Gazza was revelling in United's total domination. He should have capped another man-of-the-match performance with his first hat-trick, but infuriatingly he squanders the chance. Another goal had to come, though, and it was Mirandihna, enjoying his first flirtation with football's most romantic competition, who created it. Swindon's beleaguered defenders can't get his cross away, and Paul Goddard rounds off the afternoon's entertainment with a flourish. A 5-star performance from United, and on the Gallagher end, the chants of Wembley sounded just a little louder.
Denied by the woodwork. In the second half, the deadlock was broken when Colin Clark rode this tackle and went on to beat Gary Kelly. Southampton earned a penalty shortly afterwards when Peter Jackson clumsily brought down Letizier, but Clark skied the spot kick over the bar. With just 6 minutes left, Newcastle salvaged a point as Paul Gascoigne neatly found Michael O'Neill, who levelled the scores to make it 1-1 at the whistle.
His young players are attracted by brighter lights, but one of them, MacDonald, has let in David Smith, and that's beautifully taken. That's over the top from Roda, and Goddard will reach it first, and O'Neill! 1-1. Too strong for Dave Smith. And it's 2 for Newcastle and 2 for Michael O'Neill. Now what can Coventry come up with here? Smith's corner. And it reached Speedy, and then Gin. This is Speedy! 2-2.
Michael O'Neill. Getting into a position to shoot. It takes a deflection. It's in the back of the net. I think it maybe touched Goddard. But it's Michael O'Neill getting the congratulations. Goddard saying, "That's yours, Michael." He got them both against Coventry City a week ago. O'Neill again coming for it. Headed over the bar by Rob Johnson. Okay. Gascoigne. O'Neill, and it's 2-0, and that was magnificent because Newcastle strung together some 15 or 16 passes. In the end, Goddard picked out O'Neill. That's his second of the game. His fourth in an hour of First Division football, and he's just 18. But that really was a purist goal. Goddard battling on and emerging with the ball. McDonald. Oh, and he hit the bar, and it's still not away. It is now, but what a magnificent effort from Neil McDonald. Spectators here. Gascoigne. Bad ball into the area, but Roeder up. Roeder doing well. Roeder going all the way. Squares it. Goddard. 3-0. Paul Goddard's 9th goal of the season. But all credit to the skipper, who doesn't waste a lot of time with celebrations. Gets back into position. But Paul Goddard scored a few goals for Newcastle now, but not many could have been easier than that one. Tuning in well, this is O'Neill. Breaks for Stevenson. Goddard on the overlap. Old inside well for Stevenson, a good save by Seeley. Again, that all finds Kenny Wharton. Good return ball to Tinian. Oh, nice stuff. Stevenson with a bit of space. This time it's a better cross, and two players going up, and it hits the bar, and I think it was Wharton's header. Well, that was a good cross from Paul Stevenson. And again, the United build-up was impressive. And this time the understanding between Goddard and O'Neill not working out. Schofield denied by MacDonald. Gascoigne, he's onside. He chips it for O'Neill. His hat-trick. And Gascoigne so unselfish. Gazza could have buried that, I'm sure, himself. And Rhoda quick to acknowledge that. And that is the mark of a very good leader of men. And the crowd still applauding the youngster's hat-trick, but surely well aware of Gascoigne's part in that. Gary Kelly the fist. Gascoigne the brilliant turn. And United really turning it on now, turning into the byline. Donaghy desperately scrambling it away. Well, United might have been outclassed at Kenilworth Road in November, but they're getting their revenge this afternoon. And now United just toying with Luton, and perhaps that's a bit unnecessary. They've got the match won. They've levelled it from the first game. And the crowd, mixed feelings about all this. And I don't know what the Luton players make of it at all. But I think the crowd would rather they went on and try to get a fifth. There are still a couple of minutes to go, maybe. The whistle goes. A clean sheet for Gary Kelly. A hat-trick for Michael O'Neill. And my memory of this match will be the performance of the skipper, Glenn Rhoda, who had a hand in a couple of the goals. He handled Vic Harford very well indeed. And when that young man in the picture there, Michael O'Neill, completed his hat-trick, Rhoda quickly across to congratulate him, but also the man who unselfishly gave him the goal, Paul Gascoigne. Now then, a little bit of trouble here. I think Ray Harford, the Luton manager, incensed about the mickey taking at the end. Willie McFall is out there too, and there are fingers being pointed and a little bit of scuffling going on. And that perhaps taking a little bit of the gloss off United's performance. An emphatic victory, Michael O'Neill a hat-trick, Paul Goddard getting the other one. United 4, Luton 0. Tommy Caton. Rhoda beats Foyle. And Hebbard, Darren Jackson. David McCreary. Aim for O'Neill. Oh, and a back pass, and O'Neill with a cross, and Norma! He scored, the youngster scored after just 5 minutes. Oh, that's terrific. And nobody's more delighted than Paul Gascoigne, apart from perhaps Hans Norma. 31 goals this season, 32 now at that. The one that will really please him, that's for the senior side. In front of a crowd estimated at 17,000. The future looks good. Anderson. Hebbard.
Roda's interception. Good ball to Jackson. Roda taking over, slipping that through. Now then, what could be on here? O'Neill has made it 2-0. A beautiful ball from Glenn Roda. And superb finishing by the 18-year-old. Well, what a goal scorer he is. 12 for the season now. Bardsley. Forward beaten by Roda. Now to Darren Jackson. Paul Gascoigne. Jackson looking for O'Neill. Goddard hits the bar. Oh, another chance. Gascoigne squares it, and Goddard. Oh, unselfish work by Paul Gascoigne. Goddard deserving the goal. He hit the crossbar, and he's into double figures for the season. And United surely have wrapped up the points, and Oxford now doomed to second division next season. Final touch, an easy one, but his strike against the crossbar was a good one. Phillips. Rhodes-Brown again. Saunders. There's Phillips. Plays a nice 1-2, gets into the area, and Phillips has scored. Oh, what a good goal. Crowd applauding that effort. A superb strike by little Les Phillips, and Oxford have pulled one back, but too late.
Newcastle finished the season strongly. Only 2 defeats in the last 11 games promised well for more progress.